Here are 30 powerful Bible success and motivation stories. Each story highlights a principle of faith, perseverance, obedience, or courage, showing how biblical figures succeeded despite immense challenges. These stories serve as timeless encouragements for personal success and fulfillment. 1. Joseph. From prison to palace, Genesis 37-50. Lesson. God can use adversity to position you. Despite being sold by his brothers, enslaved and imprisoned, Joseph remained faithful. In the end, he rose to become the second most powerful man in Egypt, saving countless lives from famine. 2. Moses. Leading Israel out of Egypt, Exodus 3-14. Lesson. Success requires persistence and faith, even in the face of opposition. Moses doubted himself, but God empowered him to lead the Israelites out of slavery, overcoming Pharaoh and parting the Red Sea. 3. David and Goliath, 1 Samuel 17. Lesson. Believe in yourself and trust God to conquer giants. David, a young shepherd, defeated the giant Goliath with a sling and a stone, proving that faith and courage can overcome the impossible. 4. Esther. Courage to save a nation, Esther 4-7. Lesson. Boldness can open doors for success. Queen Esther risked her life by approaching the king uninvited. Her courage saved the Jewish people from annihilation. 5. Abraham. Trusting God's promise, Genesis 12-21. Lesson. Patience and trust in God bring long-term rewards. Although Abraham waited decades for a son, he believed God's promise. His faith made him the father of many nations. 6. Joshua. Conquering Jericho, Joshua 6. Lesson. Obedience leads to miraculous breakthroughs. Joshua led Israel to victory by following God's unconventional instructions to march around the walls of Jericho, which then collapsed. 7. Daniel. Success through integrity, Daniel 1-6. Lesson. Stay faithful, and God will promote you. Daniel maintained his faith even in exile, and God elevated him to positions of leadership, despite opposition from jealous officials. 8. Ruth. Loyalty and redemption, Ruth 1-4. Lesson. Loyalty and hard work lead to unexpected blessings. Ruth remained faithful to her mother-in-law, Naomi, and was rewarded by marrying Boaz, becoming part of Jesus' genealogy. 9. Nehemiah. Rebuilding the walls, Nehemiah 1-6. Lesson. Success requires vision, planning, and perseverance. Despite opposition, Nehemiah completed the rebuilding of Jerusalem's walls by staying focused on the task. 10. Solomon. Wisdom brings prosperity, 1 Kings 3. Lesson. Ask for wisdom, and success will follow. King Solomon asked God for wisdom instead of wealth. God granted both, making him the wisest and richest man of his time. 11. Paul. Overcoming opposition, Acts 9:16-28. Lesson. Your mission will succeed, even with setbacks. Paul spread the gospel despite imprisonment and hardships, writing much of the New Testament. 12. Gideon. Victory through faith, Judges 6-7. Lesson. Trust God even when the odds are against you. With only 300 men, Gideon defeated a vast army by following God's strategy. 13. Hannah. Faith in the waiting, 1 Samuel 1-2. Lesson. Pray persistently, and God will answer. Hannah prayed for a child for years. God answered, and she gave birth to Samuel, one of Israel's greatest prophets. 14. Peter walks on water. Matthew 14:22-33. Lesson: keep your eyes on God to succeed. Peter walked on water until he doubted. Faith can enable extraordinary success. 15. Job: endurance through trials. Job 1-42. Lesson: persevere and God will restore your fortunes. After immense suffering, Job stayed faithful, and God restored everything to him in double measure. 16. The prodigal son: redemption after failure. Luke 15:11-32. Lesson: it's never too late to start again. The prodigal son wasted his inheritance but found redemption by returning home. His father welcomed him with open arms. 17. Elijah: persistence in prayer. 1 Kings 18. Lesson: don't stop praying until the breakthrough comes. Elijah prayed 7 times for rain after a drought. His persistence brought a downpour. 18. Noah: faith in the unseen. Genesis 6-9. Lesson: success comes from obedience, even when it doesn't make sense. Noah built an ark in obedience to God, saving his family and the animals from the flood. 19. The widow's oil. 2 Kings 4:1-7. Lesson: trust God to multiply your. A widow's small amount of oil was miraculously multiplied to pay off her debts and provide for her family. 20. Jesus: feeding the 5,000. Matthew 14:13-21. Lesson: little is much when God is in it. With 5 loaves and 2 fish, Jesus fed thousands. Even small resources can lead to great success when entrusted to God. 21. Isaac: prosperity in a famine. Genesis 26. Lesson: you can thrive in difficult times. Isaac sowed during a famine and reaped 100-fold harvest because of God's blessing. 22. The Shunammite woman: faith unlocks blessings. 2 Kings 4:8-37. Lesson: generosity opens doors for miracles. By showing hospitality to Elisha, the woman received the miracle of a child and later had that child restored to life. 23. The Good Samaritan: success through compassion. Luke 10:25-37. Lesson: success involves helping others. The Samaritan's kindness to a stranger teaches us that compassion leads to lasting impact. 24. Bartimaeus: faith brings results. Mark 10:46-52. Lesson: don't be afraid to call out for what you need. Bartimaeus, a blind beggar, received his sight because he persistently called out to Jesus. 25. Lazarus raised from the dead. John 11:1-44. Lesson: even dead situations can come to life. Jesus raised Lazarus, showing that nothing is beyond God's power. 26. Caleb: success through a positive attitude. Numbers 13-14. Lesson: believe in possibilities where others see obstacles. Caleb believed he could take the promised land despite others' doubts, and God honored his faith. 27. The woman with the issue of blood. Mark 5:25-34. Lesson: take action in faith even when it's difficult. The woman pressed through the crowd to touch Jesus' garment and was healed instantly. 28. Jesus calms the storm. Mark 4:35-41. Lesson: trust God even in the storm. When Jesus rebuked the storm, it teaches that peace and success come when we trust God in the midst of chaos. 29. Zacchaeus. Life transformation through encounter. Luke 19, 1-10. Lesson. A heart change brings success. Zacchaeus, a corrupt tax collector, encountered Jesus and was transformed, leading to a new beginning. 30. Mary. Trusting in God's plan. Luke 1:26-38. Lesson. Surrender leads to greatness. Mary, despite the risk, said yes to God's plan to bear Jesus, becoming a pivotal figure in history. These stories show that success is not always immediate, but perseverance, faith, obedience, and courage are critical to achieving it. Each figure overcame trials through trust in God and unwavering determination. Let these stories inspire you on your journey